Good morning and welcome to Yoma Daf Pei Hey, Yoma 85. I'm waiting for my guest Shmuel to come. He's not here yet. He was davening chakras. Alright, we're going to start from the bottom of Pei Dal Amud Beis. We said yesterday that Shmuel says that Pikuach Nefesh ain't holken achar rov. You don't go after rov by Pikuach Nefesh. I mean, even though there's rov studim against you. Oh,
Hello.
here's Shmuel.
Hello.
Say hi.
Hi.
Shmuel's back.
Back.
All right. Now the real share can start. Shmuel, we're talking about you in the Gemara. It says Shmuel says Ein holchem pikuach nefesh achar rov. You remember saying that? Past Gilgal. You remember that?
No,
That was he was Shmuel. Shmuel on Pei Dal Amud Beis.
Okay.
Shmuel used to learn with Rav. Him and Rav used to have a serious chavrusa. Shmuel and Rav. What do you think that, a lot of times by Yisurim we pass like Rav, but by Dinim Mammon we pass like Shmuel. So why did you lose out with the Yisurim? Are you not Shomer Halacha properly? Is that the problem? Dinim Mammon is you're very careful though? You won't steal any money? Shmuel doesn't steal any money, but he doesn't keep halacha either. So
Must be what?
that's why the halacha that's why the halacha doesn't follow him in Yisurim.
It must be. I'm very financially. I'm just a financial wizard.
What do you do to earn your money? My job is a stock trader. I trade stocks. What do you do, Shmuel?
Yeah, I do also stucco.
Stucca? It's not good. It's not good to take stucca. It's not so funny, but listen, Dini Mammon is you got Baba Metzia, Baba Basra, Baba Kama. Those are all on your side. So you lost that on Moed, but you got Nezikin, so it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. All right. So the Gemara says, Shmuel said, "Ein holchem pikuach nefesh achar rov." The Gemara says, "Mi amar Shmuel achi." Did Shmuel really say this? 3 lines from the bottom. Pei Dal Amud Beis. Vatnan matzah ba'tinok mushlach. Let's say you found an abandoned child in a city. Imrov kusim. If most of the people in the city are kusim, kusi, we assume that he's a kusi. Imrov Yisrael, Yisrael. If rov of the people are Yisrael, Yisrael. Like, for example, you found in Lakewood. I think 150,000 people live in Lakewood, and
150,000.
yes,
live in
Lakewood, and 100,000 are Jewish.
100,000.
About 60%. That's what I read. About 60% are Jewish in Lakewood.
Wow. Wow, that's big.
Ocean County. I think the mayor of Lakewood must be a Jew. No.
The mayor of Lakewood is Jewish. What a Kiddush Hashem.
Yeah. You can move to Lakewood.
What a Kiddush Hashem.
In Telstone, a little more than 60% are Jewish. I would say about 98%, with the exception of Abraham, who works at the Makol. Everyone else is Jewish. That would be 99.99%. There's about 6,000 people live here in Telstone. Maybe 5,999 are Jewish.
Really?
I don't think Abraham even lives here. He's a worker at the Makol. He's probably seen in my other videos. Abraham. All right. Imrov Yisrael. If most people are Yisrael. Mechsal Yisrael. If it's half and half, I don't know exactly half and half, we treat him as Yisrael. Amar Rav lo shanu el lahachayoso. This din, if Rov Yisrael is Yisrael, is only to teach lahachayoso, to sustain him, to give him tzedakah, to feed him, to keep him alive. Even if Rov Yisrael is Yisrael, we don't assume. Let's say the child that you found is a girl. Or choshesh that she's a giores and she's pasal lakahuna, even if you have rov Yisrael, because the Gemara in Ksuba says by yuchsin you need trey rupi, you need a rov of the people where the girl came from, and you need a rov of the place where you are now. But Shmuel Amar lefakeach alav es hagal. Shmuel says that a rov Yisrael. This is the Gemara assumes now, is that the halacha is a mefakeach es hagal, meaning a building fell down on Shabbos, you go ahead and clear the rubble. So you see, only if Rov Yisrael, but even Mechsa, we don't. And Shmuel said, even if there's Rov against you, you still are Mefakeach as a gal, you still do Pikuach Nefesh and Zdocha Shabbos. So the Gemara says, Itmar the Shmuel was going on the Reisha, which says, Imrov Kusi, Itmar, Imrov Kusi, the Shmuel Itmar. Sorry, Itmar Shmuel Reisha Itmar. Imrov Kusi. Amar Shmuel in Pikuach Nefesh ain't okay. Shmuel is basically saying Pikuach Nefesh, even though Rov Kusim is Kusim, For other halachas, for gali pikuach nefesh, we don't go by us to the rove, and you are do pikuach nefesh, even though there's a mia chance that it's Yisrael. So the Gemara now analyzes this brayso. Imrov kusim kusi l'may hilchasa. What halacha is that teaching us? Amar Papa la'achilo nevelos. You can give him non-kosher meat. Give him nevela. We treat him as a non-Jew. Imrov Yisrael l'may hilchasa. So what's the halacha regarding that? Lahachzer lo avedaso. In order to return to aveda, we know that if a city is rov goyim or mechsa goyim, so we don't return to aveda b'rachoshish for yish. We assume that goyim are miyayish, or they don't have the ability to, or automatically miyayish. So therefore, once there's yayish, you're allowed to take an aveda for yourself. But if most of the places is Israel, we assume they're not miyayish, and therefore you have to return it. Mechsa Yisrael, my hilchah. So what's the halacha teaching us? Amar Reish Lakish l'nezakin. It's talking about the halachas of nezikin. What's the case? That a Jew's ox gored his ox. This suffix abandoned. Now it's a child over here. Apparently he owns oxes. I don't know how he owns oxen. If he's a child, tinok mushlach be'ir. I don't know how old the tinok is. Maybe he's 13. Maybe he's 5. I don't know exactly how old he is, but apparently he has a large herd of ox that he owns in his backyard. Where did he get the ox from, Shmuel?
The Gemara gave him to him.
Okay, let's say, fine. He apparently owns ox. So if his ox gored a Yisrael's ox, Inema the Nachi Torah down the Torah day, Yisrael's ox gored his ox. So now you see Raya V'Nishkal. He shouldn't be able to collect anything, even Chatzi Nezek, because the possibility is a kusi. And the Gemara says that when a Jew's ox gores a non-Jew's ox, so the Gemara was mafkir on Monim Shel Goyim, and he shouldn't get paid anything. So he has to bring a raya, so he's not going to get any money. And his shore, this abandoned child's shore, gored a regular Yisrael shore. Paga Yayivlai. So that's the Kiddush, the Mechsa Yisrael. They have to give him half because the suffix whether he's the Naki Torah Didei or the Torah Didan. His ox gored our ox. So half you have to give the Jew because it was a Jew. So at least Chatzinez you have to give. Ilach Paga, namely I see Raya the Lav Yisrael and Avishkol. The other half, the Jew doesn't necessarily collect because the guy could say, maybe I'm really a Jew, and therefore you have to bring a proof that he's a kusi, not a Jew, so at least he'll be able to keep half of the nezek.
He gives half?
He keeps half. That's the halacha. Mechsa Yisrael. He gets to keep half. We don't don him like a kusi, in which case he would have to pay full nezek, even if it's a short time. All right, Mishnah Mapolis. I saw today there was I'm going to put this ad in Yeshiva World News about, I'm Eli Stefanski 2.0. So they put in Yeshiva World News. He's putting ads left and right. He's got free Gemaras. Today they put an ad about him.
Free Gemaras, you said? Where is he?
I don't know. You did this joke already. It's already on my video. I can't do it again.
Oh, sorry.
I have that joke already.
It's not a joke. No.
Listen, he also was on this podcast called The Meaningful Minute. Apparently one of the people who's the host of Meaningful Minute is a guy named Langer, so it's pretty close to Lang. So it's like Kilo, I hosted him on a podcast, and he's talking about this guy, he flies planes, he scuba dives.
Who?
Eli Stefanski.
Oh, really?
He actually stopped flying planes because some person he knew actually crashed his plane and died. He scuba dives, he swims with sharks.
You're like
No. I just watched it in Yeshiva World News.
It sounds like you went into you hired an investigator to investigate him or something. Are you stalking him? It sounds like
I'm competing against
I would
listen. In politics, you bring people down. In the Jewish world, you investigate, but you don't bring them down. You just state facts. That's what you do. You state facts. He gives free Gemaras. I give free Gemaras. I'm not saying it's a terrible thing to give a free Gemara. I'm not saying it's a terrible thing to scuba dive. He could scuba dive.
It's not a good idea to scuba dive.
I'm going to tell you the difference between me and Eli Stefanski. Eli Stefanski is a guy who is not yeshivish. He was a businessman, but he acts yeshivish. Like in the beginning when he went, what? He acts yeshivish.
Next Gemara, look at Gemara.
Why not? He says,
I think it's
"Good
Lashon Hara.
morning,
It's Lashon Hara.
Rabosa." Why is that
It's
lashon hara? You act yeshivas. What's wrong with acting yeshivas? There's many people in Brisk they act yeshivas. You know, it's lashon hara to say they act yeshivas because they have those long brisker payas and they go, you know, with the thumbs when they do the chakiras. You know, I'm a guy. I'm just telling you who I am. I'm a guy who is yeshivas. I'm Haredi. I'm UTJ. I was Haredi. I learned yeshivas for 20 years, but I don't act yeshivas. So that's the difference. I don't act yeshivas. I talk about all topics in the world equally with Torah. Because derech eretz kadmol Torah, right? All right. The Gemara says, "Matzal chai mefaktem." Matzal chai pshita. Sorry, let's go back a sec. Mishnafal mapolis. My kamar says someone who found mapolis fell on him. He's allowed to go and clear the rubble on Shabbos. My kamar. Let me buy a kamar. Let me buy a safik husham, safik ein husham. The isei chai. If you're not sure whether he's there or not, but if he's there, he'll be alive. For sure, you could come fakech as a gal. You know he's there. You're just not sure if he's alive or dead. Let me buy you savik chai savik meis. The Israel, where he's a Jew, savik kusi savik Israel mefakin. Even though you're not sure whether the guy's actually Jewish, you are mefakin on Shabbos. Matzal chai mefakin. Matzal chai pshit. Of course, if you found him partially alive, you clear the rest of the rubble to save him. You sense that he's not going to live he'll live a little longer, but he's going to die within a couple of days or minutes. You still go ahead and save him, he's for sure going to die, but he's not going to die right away. So even a little bit of life is worth something for Yisrael. Why? Because he could do tshuva.
That's why?
Because he could do tshuva.
That's what you think?
What's the pshat over here?
I don't know.
They say the famous story about Rav Shlomo Carlebach. You heard the story about how he died? You heard the story? Shlomo Carlebach went into a restaurant once, and everyone was so excited to see him. They were giving him high fives. Not high fives. They were shaking his hand. They were giving him fist bumps. No fist bumps for Shlomo Carlebach. Only a hug. A heilige hug. And he went over to someone's table, and someone said, I have real tinnitus against you. I can never forgive you for what you did. You are a disgrace to Judaism, he said. All your songs, you could have been a Talmud Chacham. Apparently, he was learning in Lakewood at one point in the Ron Calder. You could have been a Talmud Chacham, and now you disgrace. You take psukim, and you take all these things, and you make them into songs. You're a disgrace to the Jewish people. So, Shlomo Carlebach said, listen, I'm a Jew. At least forgive me for being a Jew. Give me mechila. He said, I'll never be mochel you. I'll never ever be mochel you. So all of a sudden, Rosh Shlomo Carlebach said, he started saying vidois. Hashamnu, Baganu, Gazalnu, Dimar Dofi. He said it in front of this guy that he wanted him to accept his tshuva. Immediately after this restaurant meeting, he boarded a plane. He had a heart attack on the plane and he died. So you could always do tshuva, and Hashem will bring about tshuva. A little time he spent in the restaurant, he did tshuva.
What a story!
It's a real story. It's a true story.
Wow.
All right. The Gemara says, "Hanami pshita." If he's dead, you should leave him. It's also pasha. He says, of course, if he's dead, you leave him. So the Yoma Lakish says you don't save a dead person when the fire is burning. He says you would save a person. You'd move the muksa. The dead person is muksa, and you'd violate muksa in order to save him. There's a reason they allowed you to violate muksa over there, because if we didn't allow him to, he's very worried about his mace that it'll be destroyed in the fire, so he'll come to extinguish the fire and go over on Malacha D'Oraisa. If you don't allow him to clear the rubble, what's going to happen? There's no fire to burn out. When you're checking to see if the person's alive in the rubble, where do you check from? Do you check from his nose? Is he breathing? And some say you check his heartbeat. If you check from the top of the rubble and you see the top people already died, you don't assume the people on the bottom of the pile, they died also. They actually had a mice like this. The Elyonim were dead and the Tachtonim were still alive. Where is a child born from? The fetus starts from the head. From the womb of my mother, you were gozi. What does gozi mean? Omer gozi nizrech v'ashlichi. Take off your hair and throw it. So you see, gozi is a reference to the head where the hair grows from. Abba Shol Omer mitiburo. He says a child, the fetus starts from the stomach. Umishlach sharashav elach ve'elach. He goes up and down to create the rest of the body. Afilu tem Abba Shol. So you see Abba Shol says you go. The head is the most important. Afilu tem Abba Shol. You can even say Abba Shol. Adkan look Amar Abba Shol. Hasem el inyan tzira. He only said. You go. The person, the fetus, starts from the head. The chol midim mitziyase. Abba Shol says you start from the stomach. El inyan tzira. The chol midim mitziyase mitzer. Because everything starts from the middle. The main part, the main sign of a person's life is in his nose. That's the pasuk says. Ba'apav is his nose. The machlokes we had before, whether you go by you check the nose or the heart, is only when you're checking from bottom to top. You have to stop at the heart. You go to the nose also. You're checking you're clearing off the head first. Came with the body. Once you check his nose, he's not breathing. You don't have to check anymore. Yasiv, that's the pause. Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi ben Azariah, Mahalchin Baderach, Levi Aseder, Rabbi Shmuel ben Elazar ben Azariah, Mahalchin Achareh. Nishla Sheila Zubifneim. They had the following question.
Levi Aseder, what does it mean?
Levi Aseder was going to organize the brises. Rashi says Levi Aseder. He said Lo Purush Li Mahu. It wasn't explained to Rashi who his Levi was. Yeah, there was a Levi who was an Amora, lived in the time of Rav, but this is not him.
So
someone else.
It says on the side from the Aruch that he used to make big day surad, or police surad, or he made nets or something. Okay.
Okay. He was the one who manufactured for the NBA, the basketball nets. All right. Shmuel ben Elazar.
I don't think he would make such jokes. So Stefanski about that.
He wouldn't. Exactly. That's my point. I'm yeshivish guy. He doesn't act yeshivish. I don't act yeshivish.
You're the un-yeshivish.
I'm yeshivish, but I don't act yeshivish.
You're like the uncola, the un-yeshivish.
I'm real Haredi.
Cool.
Listen,
it's cool to be un-yeshivish.
Yeah, I'm a cool guy. It is cool. Yeshivish guys are not so cool.
Stefanski thinks it's cool to be yeshivish. They have a machlokes between Lang and others. Stefanski.
He's a fun guy. He's an energetic guy.
Okay.
You know. But,
okay. Well, sorry.
Right, let's go.
So they were on the trip.
They were on the trip and they had a question. Minayin the pikuach nefesh shadok as a How do you know pikuach nefesh pushes away Shabbos? Nana in a stuff like pikuach nefesh. Nana Rishmal v'Amar even machteres imatzei aganov. Sometimes someone who bores into your home and tries to steal from you. You're not sure he's coming to steal your money or to kill you. If you were to kill him, that would cause the land to be impure and you remove the shechina. The halacha is you're allowed to kill him. So the pikuach nefesh, where it's not goram l'chshin salam Yisrael. You're allowed to kill someone. Certainly, you're allowed to violate Shabbos. If a person killed someone, you're Kohen kills someone, and before he does that, he's next to the mizbeach, you can take him to kill him. If he's on the mizbeach, you have to wait for him to do the avoda, and then you can take him. Now we're on Pei Hamad Beis Aval Hachios. In order to him to, if he's an aide that knows how to malamed schus on somebody, so then even when he's doing avoda, you stop the avoda. It's dochad avoda. We're not sure if this aide is going to tell the truth or not. Avoda dochad Shabbos and avoda, and then it's dochad avoda. And avoda we know is dochad Shabbos. You can bring a korban talmid on Shabbos. Kal v'chomer the pikuach nefesh shedochad Shabbos. Certainly. Pikuach nefesh should be dochad Shabbos. Not a lezer Amar Oma Mila Shi Echad Masayim V'Arbaim V'Shmona Ivarim Sheba'adam. One that have 248 limbs in a person. Dochad Shabbos. Kavachomer Chol Gufo Shedochad Shabbos. A person's entire body, his life, dochad Shabbos. Yosef Yehuda Omer Shabbos Sosai Tishmoru Yachol Akol. You should keep Shabbos. You might think in all circumstances. Talmud Omer Ach. It says Ach et Shabbos Tishmoru. It's a miyad chalak. Tell you that Pikuach nefesh is dochad Shabbos. Yosef Ben Yosef Omer. Shabbos is kodesh to you. He mesura b'yedchem lo etem mesurim b'yada. It's given over to you, but you're not given over to it, you can violate Shabbos in order to save your lives. Rabbi Shimon ben Asi Omer, V'sham Reis al Shabbos, and the pasuk continues, Last is Shabbos l'rosim. Amar Torah, Chal alav Shabbos achas k'shishmar Shabbos is harbe. You should be shomer the Shabbos, but it's only last of Shabbos in order to make other Shabbos. It's better to Mechal this Shabbos so you can be shomer more Shabbos, presumably even a rove. Now they ask this question: what's the halacha if you know you're going to save a person but he's going to die the next week? So they say that the halacha is that we don't follow this opinion. There's not the according to this opinion, if you know he would die the next week before the next Shabbos, or even if you only be able to keep one more Shabbos, you have to be able to keep Shabbos, so 2 more Shabbos. So it's a rove. So then you would let the person die. That would be nafkamina. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel Yahavai Hasam Havamina Didi Adi Famihu. Shmuel says, again Shmuel came back. Shmuel, this is again you reappear in the Gemara. I would say my pshat is better than theirs. V'chai bahem v'lo shiyamos bahem. It says it's a mitzvah of pikuach nefesh. Now why the Gemara didn't bring this originally? I don't know why the other Tanaim didn't know about this. We know there's a Gemara in Bava Metzia and all other places. V'chai bahem pikuach nefesh is docha all the mitzvahs, docha everything. I don't know why they weren't to bring this. Lo shiyamos bahem. You have to keep the Torah, live through the Torah, and not die through it. Amarav l'chulu islu pircha barmi d'Shmuel. They all have a problem with them. All have a question on them. Except Shmuel d'leisei pircha. The Rishmael's proof. Dilma kidarava. Amarav in my time he's machteres. Amarav in my time with the machteres. What's the whole reason of machteres? You're allowed to kill him. Chazak ein adam ma'amin atzmal mamona. We know the person who he's breaking into his house. He's not going to let him steal his money. But I made the yada the kaila ape. This ganav knows he's going to stand up for his money. V'amar ikaila apai katil. If he comes into my face, he stands up to me, I'm going to kill him. So it's not a suffix, it's a vada, and we're trying to learn that even suffix pikuach nefesh is docha Shabbos. The Rabbi Akiva nami dil makda Abaye. Rabbi Akiva also maybe like Abaye. Damar Abaye masrin le zuga derabanan leida imish mamish b'dvarav. When we go and you save him from the top of the mizbeach, and you docha the avoda, that's only because you gave a pair of rabbanon who test him on the mizbeach to know if his edus is going to be niskabel and based in eshkachan vaday. Safik minala, we don't know about safik. B'chulu eshkachan vaday safik minala. You could ask the same question to all of them. Maybe it only applies in vaday. Safik no. The Shmuel vaday leisle pircha. He says v'chai bahem, meaning mistama. It's talking about even in the safik case. You should always try to live, and you shouldn't die through the Torah. Amar Ravina v'timar Rav Nachman Yitzchak tav achada pilpusa charifa. The male sana dekari. One sharp pepper is better than a basket full of melons or gourds, whatever you want to say. Okay, the Mishnah says chatas v'asham vaday mechaper. Chatas and asham vaday, those are karbanos. They are for sure provided kapara if you brought them. You don't bring them nowadays. Misa Yom Kippur mechaper nimatshuva. Misa and Yom Kippur along with tshuva is mechaber. Tshuva mechaber salvias kalas al aseh v'los aseh. Tshuva, by doing tshuva, what is tshuva? Possibly saying vidoy, skabel not to do it again. The Rambam talks about that. It's mechaper on aseh v'lo say on mitzvahs essay that you didn't do, or lo say that you violated. Balachamuros, karis and mitzvahs based on utola ad shiava yom kippur mechaper. It's told, I mean, it holds on to it that you don't get punished right away until Yom Kippur comes as mechaper. Omer echtev eshuv. Someone says, I'm going to sin and I'm going to do tshuva, I'm going to fix it afterwards. Hashem doesn't give him an ability to tshuva. He's not going to sin. Yom Kippur is mechaper. Yom Kippur is not mechaper for that person. Until he gets his friend to appease him, appeases his friend, then it's in the skabel. We already know that's from Michol Chatu Seichel Lifnei Hashem D'Torah. It says Lifnei Hashem. Avera Shem Adam L'Makom between you and Hashem Yom Kippur Mechaper. Avera Shem Adam L'Chavero Ein Yom Kippur Mechaper. Ad Shirat says Chavero until he get forgiveness from your friend. Amar Rabbi Akiva Ashreichem Yisrael Lifnei Miyatem Mitara Mi Mitar Eschem Avichem Shva Shemayim. Who is Mitar you? Hashem himself is Mitar you. Shnem is Rak Lechem Mayim Tahorim. Hashem is going to throw pure water on you if to heart them. The Omer, another pasuk, Mikvah Yisrael Hashem Ma Mikvah Mitar Satzmeim Ava Kadosh Baruch Hu Mitar is Yisrael. Simple pasuk is talking about mikvah as a hope. That Hashem is a hope for Yisrael, but it'll also be explained as a mikvah of water, 40 saw of water. So that's Mitar Tzmeim. So Kadosh Baruch Hu is like a mikvah. He's Mitar as Yisrael. Obviously, everybody knows this song from what holiday? You don't know this? Well,
Yeah,
trivia
I know,
today.
I know, and I know.
Maha mikvah mitar Yisrael. Apakadosh Baruch Hu mitar. I don't know the words. Let's read the mission. Maha mikvah mitar Satamei. Apakadosh Baruch Hu mitar Yisrael. Hey, ongre Sheikh Yisrael. Check out my Lag BaOmer video.
We need this
I'm telling you,
in 3
some
weeks.
dancing by that.
We need some little simcha in 3 weeks.
You're not allowed to sing though during 3 weeks. I think a cappella is okay, so it's okay. Don't bring your keyboard in, okay? All right. The Gemara continues. Asham vada in Asham talei lo. It says in the Mishnah only in Asham vada. Asham talei does not provide complete kapara. V'ha kapara ksiva bei. The Torah says you get kapara through bringing Asham talei. So the Gemara says Hanach mechapri kapara gmura. Asham talei in a mechaper kapara gmura. Asham talei only mechaper partially. In Amihanach in achar mechaper chamras and Asham talei achar mechaper chamras and something else is atones for an Asham Talei. The son Chayvich Chadas v'Hashamos v'Adayin Shavlan Yom Kippurim Chayavin. You still have to bring a Chadas and Asham. If Yom Kippur passed and you didn't bring it, you have to bring it. Ashamos Tluyin Pturin. But if you had it, your Chayv and Asham Talei, Yom Kippur passed, it exempted your Asham Talei. It provided kapara. Misa Yom Kippurim Chavin Matshuva. Ima Tshuva in. They only match from the Mishnah only if you do Tshuva along with Misa and Yom Kippur. Ne'asman lo name of the Loka Rebbe. He says it's not like Rebbe. The son your Rebbe Omer Al Kol V'Yesh B'Torah Min Asei Tshuva Min Lots of Tshuva. Yom HaKippurim Mechaper. Yom HaKippurim is Mechaper by itself. Even if you don't do tshuva, chus mi porikol, megala panim b'torah, meifir bris. Basar, except porikol, you do kfira, or megala panim b'torah, you say chidushim that are not the right chidushim, or you say something that's derogatory by the Torah. Meifir bris basar, you don't get a bris milah. Shemasa tshuva, Yom HaKippurim Mechaper, if you did tshuva, Yom HaKippurim Mechaper. Shemasa tshuva, Yom HaKippurim Mechaper. So you see what? Yom Kippur by itself is Mechaper. According to Rabbi, I feel the same Rabbi. Tshuva by a Yom Kippur. Tshuva needs Yom Kippur along with it. Yom Kippur lo by a tshuva. What does the Mishnah mean when it says Yom Kippur mechaper nima tshuva? That means that Yom Kippurim is mechaper. It's going on. One of the answers is that ima tshuva is just going on misa. Tshuva needs misa also, and misa needs tshuva. Yom Kippur is mechaper itself. Okay, with that we'll conclude today's shir. We learned some important things today. Just to review, we learned about a popular song they sing on Lag BaOmer, comes from this Gemara. I have an idea. How about we give out, this is my idea, on Lag BaOmer you give out free Maseches Yoma. So people could follow along. People could follow along this year. They could read along. Mom, you know, you give out. Right. You can give out the art scroll. You can give out the
maybe tell Oli Stefanski.
Steinsaltz. No, this is my idea. This is my idea. This is the better idea. On Lag BaOmer, we're giving out free Maseches Yumas. You're gonna follow along. Ma mikvah mitar esatamei ma v'kadosh baruch mitar Yisrael.
That's a crazy idea.
You'll get everyone will be dancing around with their Maseches Yumas. What do you think about that, Shmuel? Is that a good idea?
I think you should give out scuba diving gear.
No.
That would be very good. You know what I'm saying?
No. Is there any material you can use to go into a fire and not get burned or something like that? Firefighters with a special gear, hazmat suits. You know, maybe we'll give it hazmat suits along with your Maseches Yoma. Also, we'll give out the Steinsaltz.
Steinsaltz was when we had a terrible tragedy this year. We actually it was a tshuva. It was a time of tshuva.
It was a time of tshuva. So next year you have to make it up by learning Maseches Yoma. Free Maseches Yoma next year, Lag BaOmer, along with hazmat suits.
It's interesting you say that because this pasuk mikvah mitar satamei has to do with Lag BaOmer was in the same Mishnah as all the inanim of tshuva, which was very appropriate because this year the Maron tragedy, which happened on Lag BaOmer. Okay.
All right. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Enjoy. Bye.